Hi, this is a track guide for TmT-RoX by Potsor, and the current world record is 38.43 by L94, and my best time is 38.49. So the way the track guide works is that I try to go through the replay in detail at first and show off how to drive the fastest and give some tips. And after I'm done with that, I will also show the replay normally. Okay, let's start. Here is the replay. So the track starts off with a pretty tricky part. We have back-to-back turns coming up, and it's really important that you enter this first turn a lot to the right, so that you get a late apex into this turn. That will allow you to get a good angle for the next turn, which is a long turn to the right. Now try to do this full speed if you can, but if you go too wide through these turns, then it's better that you tap your acceleration a bit, so that you still get a short line through this upcoming turn. So try to go as close as to the wall as you can here. Then we have another turn to the right with a pole in the middle. There's also a small jump here just before this turn. So try to align yourself slightly to the left entering this turn, and then try to land into a drift and as close to the pole as you can. Now this is pretty hard to time right, and it's also easy that you go too wide through this turn. So what I usually do is that just before this small jump here, I release my acceleration, and as soon as I'm in the air, I start hitting the gas again. That makes this turn a bit easier to time. So here it is in slow motion. So I release my acceleration, and then I start gassing again here. Okay, so following that we have a transition, and then an uphill drift to the left. Now for this part, there's a border here that you can choose to drive over to get a better angle for the upcoming turn. But it's also pretty risky, and you can take this turn without driving over the borders, which of course is a lot safer and probably is a good idea in matches. But in this replay I will drive over this border here. But yeah, as usual, when you have a transition and an upcoming turn, try to land into a natural drift, and then wait slightly before you start extending that drift with your brake, and then just try to release it at the right moment to go through this turn with as much speed as you can. It's a pretty tight turn though, with a steep downhill afterwards, so you want to make sure that you don't go too wide, as you then lose your grip in this downhill here. Alright, then we have another transition followed by an uphill drift to the right this time. Try to drive over this quarter pipe here with your two inner wheels, so that you get a good angle for the turn. Then, since it's pretty tight here, you want to try and enter the road with your two outer wheels on the border, and start to drift immediately as you go over the road, as the turn is coming up very early. Now this turn is very long and also got a long stretch after it, so you want to try and get a lot of speed out of the turn, and going a bit wider is preferred because of that. So try to go for a short drift here, and then just go for a lot of speed through this turn. So here's the stretch coming up, and here comes a turn now where you can gain a lot of time or lose a lot of time if done wrong. So it's a jump here followed by a hard turn to the left, and the way you want to approach this turn is to try and land a bit to the right and into a pretty hard natural drift. Then you want to wait slightly with braking and try to go a bit wider, because after this a long turn to the left follows, so you don't want to go for maximum amount of speed. It's a pretty hard turn to time perfectly, and you definitely need to do a lot of adjustments in this turn, so expect that. Alright, so after this we have another transition, and here's another quarter pipe as well that you want to drive over with your two inner wheels to get the shortest line. And after this we have another uphill drift to the left. Now this turn is pretty short, so you need to start braking before you enter the road, so around the grass here. And after this turn we have a long full speed section into the finish, so this turn is very crucial that you build up as much speed as you can, so go a bit wider here to build up as much speed as you can, and also try to not go too wide, as you need to turn to the right immediately after this downhill here. And the last section of the track is back up on the road again, and we have a small bump to the left here, so you need to go pretty close to the right wall to keep your grip. on the road. And as soon as you pass this, make a small zigzag movement to get into the finish. Alright, that concludes my track guide for TmT-RoX. I hope it could help you drive faster and maybe even safer. Now here's the normal replay. Thanks for watching.